Hello, in this video, we're going to go over the input circuit principles of the Monarch mainboard. Take a look at this schematic diagram. Here, X1 through X24, these are all the input circuits of the elevator. Over on this side are the outputs. You can see from the diagram that, for example, the upper limit switch. The signal comes from the common line 301, goes through the switch, and finally reaches X12. This switch is configured as normally closed. When the elevator reaches the upper limit position, the switch activates, the circuit opens, and the X12 indicator light turns off. That tells the system the car is at the upper limit and should not be allowed to travel any further up. Now look at the example below. The brake detection switch connected to X24. This one is configured as normally open. That means under normal conditions, the circuit is open. When the elevator runs and the brake lifts, the detection switch activates, the circuit closes, and the X24 light comes on. Now let's check the official manual. The F5 function group is where the input signal parameters are set. F5-01 corresponds to X1. F5-02 corresponds to X2, and so on. Pretty straightforward. Over here you'll see options like 0133. These represent upper leveling NO, upper leveling NC. Here's what that means. If F501 is set to 1, then X1 is configured as an upper leveling normally open signal. If it's set to 33, then X1 is configured as an upper leveling normally closed signal. So if you're using a leveling sensor that's normally open, set the parameter to 1. If you later replace it with a normally closed sensor, just change the parameter to 33. Simple. Of course, not every manufacturer assigns the same functions to the same ports. That's why it's important to refer to the manual to understand what each number means, and then check the actual setup on site. Let me show you with an actual mainboard and a service tool. Enter the F5 function group, say F5-01. The tool even shows prompts, very handy. Now, what if a port is damaged and you need to reassign it? First, set the original port's parameter to 0. If you don't do this, some ports may not allow modification. Then, physically move the wire from the damaged port to a spare port. For example, if X4 is unused, connect the wire from X1 to X4. Finally, go into the parameters and set F5-04 to 1. You have to change both the wiring and the parameter together. So that's the basic principle behind the input circuits. Always refer to the actual site schematics, confirm the setup, and then configure accordingly. Once you understand this, everything becomes much clearer. Thanks for watching.